Why do you support Donald Trump, sir?
Honestly, I mean, it's not necessarily so much rooted in support of Donald Trump because I believe that right versus left is kind of like a social construct. It's more of when it gets put up to that point to vote for somebody who you want to be the president of the United States, the options that you're left with is either this or that, and in my opinion, they were both kind of. But I would definitely vote for Donald Trump again because I'm not voting for Kamala. It just would not
Kamala.
happen.
Okay.
Kamala.
So then here would be my question: is what specifically is the reason why you wouldn't vote for Kamala Harris, and what is the reason why you would prefer to specifically vote for Donald Trump?
Well, so I joined the military in 2015. I'm an Army combat medic. Um, I've been to a bunch of different places. Right, I went somewhere under the Obama administration. I've went places underneath the Trump administration. I've went places underneath the Biden administration, and then once again on Trump's second term here. Um, I mean, I don't know how much experience you have in like the third world countries and et cetera, et cetera. But the more you travel and the more you interact with these people and you just kind of talk to them and kind of get to know them and you just witness their culture, if you're not coming from a position of more strength, I guess you could call it, and kind of ascertaining like a tone of respect when you're not in a room type deal, then you're kind of failing the people that you're representing because the president of the United States really doesn't have any actual power. I mean, we're seeing that right now with Donald Trump and all of his executive orders, and he's being legally blocked by all these federal judges and all these
Yeah.
circuit
So can I
courts.
ask you a
And
question?
yeah,
What demonstrates, like, what qualities of a person demonstrate strength and respect?
well, there's a couple different things, right? And it's different for everybody. And I think Donald Trump specifically, he projects himself, as a very successful businessman. Like I know he's got 10 bankruptcies, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean,
Six.
no,
That's
6, 10, it's a lot. It's more
so
than I
many
got.
that you lost track.
There you go. It is what it is. But then again, how many billions of dollars has he made? More billions than I've made. So I
How many
can't really
hundreds
sit.
of millions of dollars did he inherit from his father?
I want to say it was like $7 million. I don't think
Four
it was a
hundred
couple
million,
hundred.
accounting for inflation.
Okay, but I mean, in Donald Trump's specific case, they look at him, they see somebody who's failed, get back up, and now he's at the highest point of political power in the world, right? Because the rest of the world views the president of the United States as the most powerful person in the world, which
Okay, okay. So,
technically,
so, so Kamala Harris, if she were president, would also be president and be in that position. So the only thing you uniquely said was that Donald Trump was a quote unquote successful businessman, and to me, that more likely just says that he was more of a successful con artist, not specifically just a businessman, right? Because he wasn't the one that actually built anything himself. He inherited $400 million from his dad, and then ran six businesses into the ground, bankrupted them. One of them being a casino, by the way, right? Which is incredibly hard to bankrupt in the very first place. So I see Donald Trump to be more of a successful con artist and a pathological liar. I don't see him to like actually command strength and respect. If you look at the level of confidence that they have, like countries around the world have in American leaders, Democrats have significantly higher confidence amongst countries around the entire world comparative to Donald Trump, right? Biden, Harris, both had significantly higher confidence ratings amongst a bunch of different countries around the world comparative to Trump. Only a few countries would Trump specifically have higher confidence in. Most countries
right,
indicated he had significantly lower levels of confidence in him as a president and him as a leader.
right. I've got you. But can I ask you something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think that there's a specific causality between the countries that Kamala, that's how you say her name, right? Kamala.
Hmm.
Okay, Kamala and Joe Biden, right? Let's just look at the tariff situation, right? A lot of countries, came out and said that Donald Trump was terrible and he's just the worst human being in the world. The same countries that in his first term were shaking hands with him, making peace deals, making trade deals, all kind of things. And now that we have reciprocal tariffs, he's terrible. He's a con artist. He's a pathological liar. He's this. He's that. We don't respect him. We don't like him, and they're still paying the tariffs. And then on the flip side, you
What is
have
a
Kamala
tariff?
Harris. A tariff? It's a
Yeah.
tax on imported goods.
Yeah, and who pays that tax?
uh, the citizens of the country it's being imported to.
Yeah, so the United States citizens and consumers.
Yes.
So you're replacing income tax, a progressive tax structure, with tariffs,
Hmm.
a regressive tax structure, because people who are lower and middle income spend a greater proportion of their income on consumer goods. So if you increase the cost of
Okay.
consumer goods, it disproportionately negatively impacts low and middle income individuals in terms of where you get the tax revenue from. So what you're actually
Okay.
doing is you're shifting the burden of taxation from those who are disproportionately wealthy to those who are disproportionately lower and middle income, therefore taking money from the rich and giving to the, or I mean, taking money from the poor and giving to the rich.
Okay, but before Donald Trump instituted these tariffs, who was paying for the tariffs that America was already paying?
Let's say that again.
Right. So they're reciprocal tariffs, right? Meaning,
They're not reciprocal.
uh, the China tariffs are reciprocal
No, they're
tariffs.
not.
The United States of America pays
What is a
120%.
reciprocal tariff?
A reciprocal tariff means you're going to tariff me. Okay, cool, right? So we're importing American goods into China, then we pay you the tax, right? And then now that you want to import your goods into America, you're going to pay a tariff.
No, it's that you replace. They have a tariff on you on a specific industry. You place a tariff on them in that same specific industry in order to be able to get them to have a reduction in their tariff overall. So the goal is to get rid of the tariff, right? And it's to bring down tariffs. So if that was Donald Trump's goal and it was reciprocal tariffs, why did Donald Trump impose tariffs on Canada and Mexico when through the USMCA they mitigated tariffs?
Okay, well, I mean, you could also ask the same question as to why America pays so much
Can
more
you
in the
answer my
WHO.
question first?
I got you. I got you. I'm going to get there. But you could also pose that same question towards why America pays so much more for everything, like NATO, WHO, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So now you're looking at, like Canada. Like, let's just take Canada off rip. Canada. What does Canada provide right now to the rest of the world that they just cannot live without?
Is that an answer to my question?
I'm getting to answering your question right now.
No, no, no. You're not. You're asking me a question.
And,
Would you like to
okay.
answer my question, and then I will answer any questions you would like?
All right. So you want to know why we pose tariffs on what, Canada?
Yeah, given that they specifically already mitigated tariffs through the context of the USMCA, something that was particularly negotiated by Donald Trump himself with Canada and Mexico,
In an effort to make them move production to America.
in an
As in the
effort to
same
reduce
place.
tariffs specifically.
In an effort to move their business to America. That was in the outline of the tariff deal. I don't know if you like read the whole thing, but in there in the bottom of it where it said, if you move your jobs to America, that this tariff would go away.
Yeah, I understand. That doesn't. You understand that that's not a response to what I just said, right?
It's the answer to your question. Why did we do it? We did it so that and eventually they would move the jobs here, or they can keep paying the tariff.
So is
I
it
mean,
are we doing reciprocal tariffs or not? Because the goal of a
reciprocal tariff
reciprocal
is
tariff is to reduce tariffs, not increase them.
okay. So a reciprocal tariff is like someone with China. We imposed a tariff on Canada for the reason that I just outlined.
You
We
said
did not.
reciprocal, meaning that they placed tariffs on us,
Okay.
which wasn't
Okay.
true
I
because
said
we
like
reduced
reciprocal tariff with China. Yes.
we
All right.
reduced. Or I'm talking about Canada. I don't know why you keep
Okay.
changing the
Cool.
topics.
Cool. All right. Cool. So we're talking about Canada. We did not impose a reciprocal tariff on Canada. We
Exactly.
imposed a
So the
tariff.
tariffs that Donald Trump is imposing were not reciprocal.
Not all of them. No.
Okay. Okay. So then I don't know why you branded them as reciprocal. No, which ones were reciprocal?
China specifically.
Nope.
Okay.
What was their percentage tariff on us?
120.
You're saying it was 120 on every good going into China prior to us imposing any tariffs on them?
Not every good. I think. What was it? All the
That's
automobile.
because Donald Trump did even more than that, by the way. And it
Yes.
wasn't even, it was specifically on every good coming from China. So
But it also worked.
that's not what a reciprocal tariff is.
But it worked, right?
No, it didn't.
How did it not work?
Tariffs are higher now than what they would have been under a Democratic administration.
The Democratic administration viewpoint on the world is let's keep pumping out this money that we don't already have.
What does that even mean? Donald Trump signed off on more debt-related spending according to the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, a nonpartisan committee from the federal government. Signed off on
Okay.
$4 trillion more debt-related spending in his first administration comparative to the Biden-Harris administration, and will do $4 trillion more in this administration comparative to Harris's campaign plans on a central estimate, again from the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, a nonpartisan committee from the federal government.
So, within the United States, yes, he's signed some things that have costed a lot more than his first administration and the Biden-Harris administration within the United States, right? But as soon as you start looking out of the United States, which is what, for some reason, Democrats are so like determined to do. We want to fix everybody else's problems. We want to pay for everybody else's things. We want to help everybody else out. While meanwhile, here in America, we're not doing anything to fix the problem. And I'm not saying that Donald Trump is doing anything to fix the problem here, right? Like I've been watching your live now for about I don't know about an hour, and I've been seeing you continuously bring up like cutting the school lunch. What is it, 20,000 kids a month? I think is what you've been saying.
420,000 kids on average per month will lose free school lunch and breakfast to the
Okay,
big beautiful bill.
so this is my whole opinion on that. The United States government should not be in any way, shape, or form involved in the state level like education.
So, so,
And
so,
it
so,
is
so to clarify, the federal government shouldn't be feeding kids.
the federal government should not be involved in state education. That is what I'm saying.
So to clarify, the federal government should not be feeding hungry children.
That should be the state government.
So okay, so if a certain state government wants to starve their school children, should they be allowed to?
No, then the federal government would step
No.
in there.
So the federal government should be involved in feeding hungry children.
So no, you're trying to just make one thing a point, right? It should be at the state level, right? Okay, so let's take Florida for example. Right, in the state of Florida, there's 110 counties in the state of Florida. Every single county has to submit their budget, and et cetera, et cetera. It goes up the chain until eventually the state has to request for the government to approve the budget or not approve the budget to supplement the money that they're going to be missing. All right, and then I would assume that at some point the state's budget has to do with education. I mean, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is in there. I believe that is where that should be. The federal government should submit money, right, specifically for, okay, here's money for school lunches, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if the state is reallocating those funds and misusing them, the government does not need to get involved with the education of those children or involve themselves with the schools directly. They need to involve
So
themselves.
you don't think there should be federally determined educational rights for children in this country?
That's not what I said at all, right? There's obviously a baseline, right? Like, oh, hey, you have to maintain this standard. Now, the state go do it.
Okay, so then how is this a response to me saying that 420,000 children should not be kicked off of their free school lunch and breakfast because of the big beautiful bill?
Okay, well, how does the big beautiful bill directly impact school lunches?
The Congressional Budget Office indicated that by cutting food stamps.
What does food stamps have to do with a school providing lunches?
Food stamps provides free school lunches for children in some contexts.
So we couldn't allocate that money somewhere else? Or get that money from
Wait, I'm
somewhere
sorry, you
else?
want to reallocate money from feeding school children to what?
No, I said we could not get it from somewhere else, reallocate it from somewhere else to put it there.
I'm confused what you mean.
Like, let's just say, okay, so I'm not saying I agree with this, right? But Trump did or did not Trump, block the Department of Education, right? So there was like, I think $6 billion a year or something like that was freed up in the budget. I don't agree with it, but that's what it is. You couldn't take that $6 billion and allocate it towards school lunches.
So Trump actually reduced funding for school lunches by cutting food stamps.
Okay. But, I mean, at some point, you are going to cut something you're not supposed to cut. I mean, everybody got uppity
No.
with Elon when he said, mistakes will be made, but everybody's human. Mistakes are made. Right?
So you think if a Democrat were in office, they would cut 420,000 children off of free school lunch and breakfast on average every month?
Well, I
They
know
would
they
pass
would
the
because
same
they
bill?
wouldn't.
No, they
Well,
wouldn't have
they
because none
definitely
of them voted
would.
for this bill.
No, I know, but they also wouldn't have done anything about the misuse and the abuse of food stamps, welfare, et cetera, in the country.
Okay, so again, so you're saying that there's more misuse of funds in relation to food stamps than there is in the military because Donald Trump wants to increase funds in the military, right? Again, something that we haven't been able to pass audits in, right? So he wants to increase funding in that, but he wants to decrease funding for children's access to food. I don't think you're going to get much fraud by going after like funding for like children to have food. I think you'd find more fraud going after the DOD.
Well, so the DoD itself, right? And like I said, I've been in. April will be 11 years I've been in. I know that we spend way too much money on just dumb stuff. Like there's things in the military that get bought by the military contracts through the contracts that the government
Okay.
provide.
Okay, so if
Probably
we want to address fraud, it's not addressing specifically free school lunch and breakfast. That's a misnomer. That's not true. That's not the reason why they are cutting free school lunch and breakfast. That's not the reason why they're cutting food stamps. Not the reason why they're cutting Medicaid. It does not provide much in terms of like limiting fraud. There's nothing in the bill that says they're going after fraud. They changed the certain set of qualifications to make less people qualify. That's it. That's not going after fraud.
Okay. I don't know. I sit on the standpoint of there's a ton of fraud, waste, and abuse that's been going on for a very long time in the country, and it does include the military, right? So I'm not saying that anybody's exempt from it. I'm just saying that a lot of people will benefit from quite a few audits and quite a few cuts coming from different places. Not
Yeah.
necessarily the
So
school
why would
lunches,
you
because
vote
I
more
do
fraud,
agree.
waste, and abuse in by voting for Donald Trump?
And how would more fraud, waste, and abuse come in with Donald Trump?
Yeah, so specifically, he literally tried to incite a violent insurrection at the Capitol and tried to undermine the results of the 2020 election and try to send false slates of electors to electoral college to cast Trump votes when he didn't win to try to rig the election in his favor.
Mhm. Okay, so I don't really know how to disprove the fact or prove the fact that he did or did not, cause a violent insurrection at the Capitol. Because if you're
I can
saying that,
prove it if you'd
that's
like. I mean, he pardoned
well,
violent rioters who beat police officers, meaning he condoned the violence on that day. He also called for them to fight like hell and to take back the country from those that stole it from them after literally convincing 70% of the Republican Party that the Democrats stole the election with no evidence.
okay. So the fight like hell comment, right? We're going to get to the other part about the beating the hell out of the police officers, but the fight like hell comment. What is the difference between Trump saying that we should fight like hell for this country and Maxine Waters, Nancy Pelosi, what's her name, Jasmine Crockett, all three of those are on record on a video saying that they should fight. They should stand up, rise up in the streets, and not allow any of this to be going on. If you see ICE agents showing up, you should stop them, harass them.
They didn't
What,
they didn't pardon people who beat police officers.
that's
They didn't
because they don't
incite
have
a
the power.
violent insurrection. These weren't insurrectionists.
That's because they don't
Um,
have the power to pardon them. You
Wait,
can't
and by
say,
the
oh,
way,
they
there are
didn't do
completely
it.
different connotations. The reason why I'm saying that Donald Trump incited the violent insurrection at the Capitol is not only because he said fight like hell, it's not only because he said take back the country from those that stole it from him, but it's also because he directed them to the Capitol, right, and then pardoned the violence that happened on that day.
Okay. So that doesn't answer my question. That kind of runs around it. I'm
What
talking
was
about
your question that I did not answer?
what is the difference between Jasmine Crockett and those other three people saying what they said and then Trump saying what he said. I'm not saying that Trump was right.
Is this guy
I,
listening to what I'm saying? I
I'm
directly
listening.
answered that question. Directly answered it.
You said it's because they did not pardon them. The last time I checked, and I could be
That's a
wrong,
difference. You
members
just
of
named the
Congress,
difference that I just told you.
members of Congress do not have the power to pardon someone from federal crimes. Right or wrong?
Exactly. Are they advocating to pardon violent rioters?
What do you mean? They advocated for the reinstation of that gang member from El Salvador to come back to the United States of America.
They advocated for following the Supreme Court order that was 9-0 and upholding the Constitution and due process rights. You wanted to send Kilmar Abrego Garcia to a concentration camp in El Salvador, right, with no due process rights that the Supreme Court indicated you should not do.
Okay. So let me ask you this: was he a documented immigrant or an undocumented immigrant?
Is he? Does that matter? Everyone in the country gets due process rights.
Well, see, this is the part right here where I am just stoically going to disagree with you. Because if you entered this country illegally, which is an illegal or undocumented immigrant, whichever term you choose to use, it means the same exact thing. If you came in here undocumented, you committed a crime to enter this country. You are here illegally. While no, not everybody needs to be deported because some people do provide more benefits than they do harm. And I do understand that immigrants bring more, economic growth to a country. There is a right and a wrong way to do it. Now, the right way to do it is rigged. It's very long and very arduous. There should be a program in place right now for people who are here undocumented in order for them to fast track to citizenship, pay an extra tax, pay a fine, whatever it is that's got to happen. I believe that should happen. I do not believe in any way, shape, or form that you can stand up there and tell me that people who commit crimes illegally are and are here illegally are still afforded due process. That's
Well, the
not.
Constitution grants it to them based upon the 14th Amendment, but how do you identify that they've committed a crime without giving them due process?
Well, what is that girl, Laken Riley? What, she got by an illegal immigrant or an
Can I ever get a
undocumented?
response to my questions? Like the amount of pivots that you've engaged in this conversation is insane. Answer my question, please.
Okay. What question would you
How
like
do
to
you
know?
identify that someone has committed a crime if you do not give them due process?
Oh, okay. Well, members of a gang. Off rip, right? He was a member. He was a known gang member. You're telling me he's just living a
How
church-like
do
life?
you identify that they're a quote unquote gang member?
Tattoos,
Due
social media
process.
posts.
Tattoos do not indicate that you're a gang member. That's
What
ridiculous.
do you mean tattoos do not indicate that you are a gang
Yeah,
member?
they do not. They absolutely do not.
Oh, okay. So you're telling me right now that a Star of David on a gangster disciple doesn't have any meaning whatsoever? You're
So
telling me right
I'm
now.
saying that a tattoo is not sufficient evidence to indicate that someone's a part of a gang or has committed a crime.
So I'm not really sure that you know how the prison system in the United
I
States
have
of
a
America
question.
works.
Can you tell me what gang tattoo Kilmar Brega Garcia had?
Let's see. Every single tattoo on his body
Tell me one of
screams.
them.
Oh, the on the back of his
There
right
wasn't.
shoulder.
Can you
What
give
do
me
you
a?
mean there's not?
Yeah, that
Oh,
was
okay. I'm
made
sorry.
up.
F
Can you give
U
me a
R
source?
13. SUR 13. Okay. It's the
What
same
was your
thing.
source on that?
Let's see. Fox News, the Department of Justice, and
Fox News. Fox News. So provide me an actual source. Give me a title of a Fox News article. Even I'll try. I'll wait. Did you find your source?
yes, the Department of Homeland Security, ABC News, BBC, NBC, CNN, and I'm gonna hold on. Let me look over here and
No.
read
Can you
it so
give
that
me
way.
a title, not just like saying different like news sites?
Kilmar Abrego Garcia and from BBC. Also, the Department of Homeland Security, same
Okay.
title.
And you said what was the first place you said from?
Is that
BBC.
BBC? Hold on, wipe out. BBC.
Okay. And where in the BBC article does it say this?
As soon as you search up BBC and Kilmar Abrego Garcia, it pops up right there on the Google AI, and it has BBC as the cited source.
The White House has also alleged that tattoos on Abrego Garcia's hands, a leaf and a smiley face with a cross and skull, are quote unquote gang symbols, an allegation that Trump repeated. The administration previously released. Yeah, so they're claiming the symbols are open to interpretation. Experts who previously spoke to BBC verify have cast doubt on the claim that these tattoos mean what Trump and his team allege.
Okay, did you see the article about in 2019 when he was arrested
So
for?
wait. Hold up. So the experts don't indicate that's true. And also, you said that there was like a MS-13 thing. That there isn't that. That was just an allegation.
So he was arrested in 2019 for domestic violence, and the gang unit
Wait,
and the
wait.
police.
That's a separate claim, right? Hold up. Wait. Why are you making a separate claim?
It's not. It's the same guy.
What you did was just pivot. You
It's
just
not a
pivoted.
pivot. It's the
You
same
were
guy.
wait.
The same
You just
tattoo.
argued that he had certain tattoos, and that's how you
Okay.
identified that. Now you pivoted off of the idea of that there's tattoos, and you made some claim about some other particular
Okay.
crime that you believe he was committed that he's committed.
Okay.
So
Cool.
I have a question then. Can I ask you a
Okay.
question?
Go ahead.
Do you think
Go
it's
ahead.
justified to send someone to a concentration camp because it is the case that they have committed an act of violence?
Okay. Is that concentration camp located in the United States of America, and are they a
No, no,
citizen
no.
of the
Wait.
United States of America?
Does that matter to you?
110%.
Okay, so then you're saying they can be sent to a concentration camp if they are not a citizen.
Okay, so this is where a lot of people have this distorted view of the world. Do you understand that there are still places in the world right now that adhere to and are okay with, like, that is okay in certain parts of the world? Like, do you
No,
understand
it's
that?
not. It's not okay anywhere. It's wrong
It,
anywhere it happens.
oh yeah, sure,
And if
yeah,
you
it's wrong
and
for
please let me
you and
finish.
me and everybody
And
else that
that
lives
doesn't
in the
mean you
United
should
States of
send
America.
people to countries in which this happens within that
Okay,
they've never
what
been to
people,
before in their life.
but this is what people don't
And
understand.
also in
What
terms
people
of
do.
wait, hold up. Let me keep going, please.
Okay.
How about this? Do you think violent offenders? Do you think it's justified to send them to concentration camps in El Salvador?
Violent offenders go to
Yeah,
concentration? Oh, absolutely.
absolutely. So Donald Trump's a violent offender. Would you say it's justified to send him to a concentration camp in El Salvador?
Send them on.
Wait, you just said that Trump, it's justified to send him to a concentration camp?
If he's a violent offender, go ahead.
He is. He was held civilly liable.
I'm not going to change my opinion just because of who it is.
What do you mean? Wait, you think the president of the United States should be sent to an El Salvadorian concentration camp, and yet you still think he should be president? What do you think he should be president from the concentration camp?
Did I say that he should still be president if he's sent to the concentration camp?
So you agree that Donald Trump should not be president, right?
Sure. I don't think Kamala should be president either.
Wait, okay, you know what? Should we impeach Trump?
We should impeach Trump and get rid of the political parties. Absolutely. 100%.
So you're saying that you simultaneously support Trump and you also think that he should be impeached and you think he should be sent to a concentration camp in El Salvador? Like, dude, what the hell is going on?
I support Trump in the fact that I did not support Kamala Harris. And I do support Trump from the standpoint of the fact that he is the better option for the United States.
Wait, do you think wait, I have a question. Do you think it would be justified to send Kamala Harris to an El Salvadorian concentration camp?
For what?
Well, no, I don't think that there'd be any reason to send her there. Like, I'm asking you, do you think that she should be sent?
You're talking about like just as she stands right now?
Yeah.
No.
So you think that someone that should, under your view, be sent to an El Salvadorian concentration camp would be preferable to someone who you think should not be sent to one?
And that should tell you just how bad that Kamala Harris.
That doesn't make any sense at all. That makes no sense. What do you mean? That should tell you. No, you should be the one that's reflecting upon what you just said. Hello? You don't think that Kamala Harris should be sent to an El Salvadorian concentration camp. You do think that Donald Trump should be sent to an El Salvadorian concentration camp, but yet you think that Donald Trump should be the president and Kamala Harris shouldn't be?
Absolutely.
Please make it make sense.
Okay. Would you like me to make it make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So Kamala Harris in office, what do you think would have happened? Like, first 100 days.
The economy would be better. We'd have higher real GDP growth. We'd have better jobs reports. We'd have lower unemployment. We'd have better inflation numbers.
Okay. So unemployment right now is at what? 4%, I believe. The last time I looked at the polls, it's at 4%.
4.3%.
Okay, 4.3% under Joe Biden at the same time. And this is shortly after COVID, right? So I'm not gonna pin everything on him. COVID was a terrible time in the country. I want to say that the unemployment was around like 8.7%, I believe.
No, not at no point under Biden was unemployment 8.7%. The only time it was 8.7% was under Trump's first term. Try again.
During COVID, correct?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I don't know why you brought that up.
All right, so 8.7%. I think the lowest Biden ever got.
That was under Trump. That was under Trump. It was actually 14.8% under Trump at the highest point.
Okay, but what was the highest point under Biden? Since I can't swipe out of that.
The day he got in office.
Okay, and what was it?
6.4%.
6.4%. Okay, and at what point did he get it down to 4.3%?
It was down at 4% by the end of his administration.
I just can't believe that whatsoever.
Yeah, and it's gone up by 0.3% since Trump got in office. The jobs report was so bad under Trump that he fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, saying that the information was politically biased. And then he hired someone new, and they indicated even less jobs than what was indicated for the month prior.
Okay, so following off of your earlier comment, you believe that GDP growth would be higher under Kamala Harris?
Absolutely.
Okay, and so what supports that?
What do you mean?
Like, what gives you that idea? What did she ever do as vice president that leads you to believe that as a president she would make decisions in order to lead us to a higher GDP growth?
What would have she wouldn't have imposed tariffs?
That's it.
That in of itself would. I can give you other examples as well, like the bipartisan infrastructure bill that happened under Trump, or not under Trump, under the Biden-Harris administration, the CHIPS and Science Act, the PACT Act, the Inflation Reduction Act. So the policy she was advocating for, I can give specifics for the next administration. The $6,000 child tax credit for the first year of a child's life, $3,600 through them being 5 years old, $3,000 through them being 18, $2,000 cap on pharmaceuticals out of pocket, $35 cap on insulin for everyone, not just people who are on Medicare, along with the $25,000 tax credit for first-time homebuyers for new homes. All right, those are all specific policies.
Okay, and yet the state level still has those same programs for first-time homebuyers. That didn't change under Trump.
Push the galaxy. What'd you say?
Like this, the state level still has those same
No, this
programs
is
for
from a federal
homebuyers.
standpoint.
Yes, the state will supplement your FHA loan, your federal housing loan, for the first-time homebuyers. Like the state of Florida,
So
they
there's
do.
again, there's been no federal standpoint for $25,000 tax credit for first-time homebuyers for new homes. There's no policy for that. That's been
Okay,
passed.
but they don't have to when the state itself does it. Like the state of Florida has what's called
Wait,
a
so
hometown security.
this would be on top of what the state already provides.
I don't
So
believe
not
that at
every
all.
state provides that, but
It
if
would
your
be
state
either
does
or.
provide that, you would get the tax credit from the state and you would get the tax credit from the federal government. So you get
Is
a
that,
double help.
is that
So like for
written
example,
the?
in Colorado, you already get 25,000, right? You would get another 25,000. So you get a $50,000 tax credit for first-time home buyers for new homes.
I would have to look at the research behind that because I feel like there would be an imposition to where it would be you could either use one or the other, and they would
Nope,
have
nope, it
benefit.
would be both. Unless the state specifically had a policy that it would be either one or the other. Given that there'd be a federal one in place, but there isn't a federal one in place to that degree, so I don't know why that policy would exist. Thank you for the galaxy. Thank you so much.
And then as far as like Kamala Harris's foreign policy, how do you feel like that would just be so much better than Trump's foreign
Oh,
policy?
yeah, like she wouldn't have cut the funding specifically to Ukraine to defend Ukraine from Russia, meaning that Russia would have less power over controlling Ukraine. So actually,
Okay.
Donald Trump gave more power to Putin. So he's actually harmed our foreign policy in that respect. Also, our foreign policy would be better with our allies because we wouldn't have imposed tariffs, which have harmed our relationships with our allies. We wouldn't have undermined U.S. aid, which has been incredibly important in our soft power around the entire world.
Mm-hmm.